There are moments in life where everything you once knew about yourself begins to crumble. You wake up one day and realize that the light you once radiated isn't as bright. The healing energy you used to carry now feels heavier, more chaotic, and strangely powerful in a way you can't quite comprehend. This is not a fall from grace. This is a metamorphosis. You are not being punished, and you are not breaking. You are shifting. And not everyone will understand. In fact, many will fear what you are becoming. But you must ask yourself something deeper than what the surface shows. What if you weren't meant to stay in the light forever? What if your soul contract required you to walk into the shadows, not as a punishment, but as a sacred assignment? We often celebrate the light-chosen ones, empaths, healers, those who radiate peace, those who hold space. But what we don't talk about enough are the dark chosen ones, those whose purpose is not to comfort, but to disrupt, not to heal through gentleness, but to awaken through intensity. These are the ones who call out illusions, who destroy false identities, who carry the sword of truth with such sharpness that it cuts through generations of lies. And if you're listening to this right now, it's because something inside you has already begun to shift. You're no longer resonating with what used to feed your soul. The teachings that once uplifted you now feel hollow. You're craving something raw, something real, something ancient that doesn't come wrapped in love and light, but in fire and shadow. Let me tell you a story. I once knew someone who spent years in silence, meditating in the Himalayas. He was known as a beacon of light, attracting seekers from all over the world. But one year, he disappeared. When he returned, he was different, serious, piercing, almost intimidating. His aura had changed. People whispered. Some said he had fallen. Others said he was possessed. What they didn't understand is that he had gone through the sacred rite of descent. He had faced the part of himself that was not love, but wrath, not compassion, but command. He had become a dark chosen one, and his mission had expanded beyond healing. It had become about transformation. That's the path some of us are on. And it's not easy, but it's necessary. So what are the signs that you're shifting from the light to the dark path? Not evil, but sacred, misunderstood, and essential. The signs won't be written in the stars. They'll be etched into your soul. They'll show up in your relationships, your dreams, your energy, your triggers. And they won't come gently. They'll come like a storm tearing through everything that no longer aligns with your higher path. You'll feel like you're losing yourself. But in truth, you're shedding the persona you were never meant to keep. And this is the first sign. You no longer resonate with spiritual bypassing. The love and light narrative feels incomplete. You begin to crave truth, even if it's ugly. You start to see how toxic positivity hides real pain. You reject the idea that healing is always peaceful. You've started to understand that real healing, deep healing, requires confrontation, destruction, chaos even. You become allergic to fakery. You become a mirror to others, and some will hate you for it. The second sign is that your energy starts to repel people you used to attract. This is painful but necessary. You might find yourself losing friends, detaching from mentors, distancing from communities that once felt like home. Why? Because your vibration is no longer soothing, it's catalytic. You're no longer here to only comfort, you're here to awaken. And awakening is not a gentle experience. It's violent, it's loud, it's uncomfortable. You're becoming the storm, not the shelter. And not everyone is ready for that. But here's the truth. You didn't come here to be liked. You came here to be effective. And that effectiveness sometimes comes with isolation, with criticism, with misunderstanding. But deep down, You know this is your rite of passage. The third sign is that your dreams become darker, but more symbolic. You stop dreaming of light beings and start dreaming of serpents, of ancient gods, of battles, of fire, of death. But these are not nightmares. They are initiations. They are your subconscious preparing you for a deeper role. You are being trained, not tormented. If you've had recurring dreams of being chased, of being tested, of walking through shadowy realms, pay attention. These are not random. They are your ancestors, your guides, your higher self preparing you to carry a power that is not soft but sovereign. A power that doesn't ask for permission. A power that doesn't wait to be invited in. It breaks the door down and says, "Let's begin." The fourth sign is a growing intolerance for spiritual fluff. You start to notice how the spiritual community often avoids the uncomfortable truths, the shadow of spiritual elitism, the denial of systemic issues, the blindness to real-world suffering. And you can't stomach it anymore. You become the one who speaks up when no one else will. And when you do, you're called angry, bitter, negative. But deep down, you know you're speaking with the voice of 1,000 ancestors who were silenced. You're not negative. You're just done pretending. You're done gaslighting yourself. You're done shrinking your truth. And this is when the real shift happens. You begin to embrace your role as a disruptor. And that is sacred. The fifth sign is that you start to experience energetic surges and rage that doesn't belong to you, at least not in a personal sense. You feel the collective pain. You feel the injustice. You feel the suppressed rage of the earth, of the divine feminine, of the marginalized. And it moves through you like electricity. You're not crazy. You're a conduit. You are becoming a vessel for sacred rage, and you must learn to channel it wisely, not through destruction for the sake of destruction, but through dismantling what no longer serves the collective evolution. Sacred rage is not the opposite of love, it is love in action. It is the fire that burns away the lies. It is the sword that cuts through illusion. It is not random, it is ordained. The sixth sign is a deep craving for solitude, not to escape, but to rewire. You no longer feel safe in crowds. You no longer seek external validation. You begin to realize that your power increases in silence. You begin to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You start to commune with your spirit guides differently, not through soft whispers, but through thunderous downloads. You feel ancient codes unlocking within you. You start writing, drawing, speaking in ways that surprise even you. And this is how your dark gifts begin to emerge. The gift of truth speaking, the gift of seeing through the veil, the gift of calling out the inauthentic, the gift of burning down so that others can rise. And finally, the seventh sign, you stop fearing your power. You realize that the darkness within you is not evil, it is sacred. It is the part of you that knows how to protect, how to destroy illusion, how to end cycles. You stop apologizing for being intense. You stop watering yourself down. You stop playing small. You start to walk differently, speak differently, move differently. You are no longer trying to fit in. You are no longer trying to be palatable. You are here to be unforgettable. You are here to shake the system. You are here to carry the ancient codes of disruption. But now I must ask you, when you look in the mirror, do you recognize who you are becoming, or are you still clinging to who you were told to be? This is not a rhetorical question. This is the doorway, and only you can walk through it. The sacred rage and the rise of the shadow alchemist. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey where they must stop asking for permission. The sacred doesn't need approval. The divine doesn't wait for applause, and the shadow doesn't apologize. When you begin to shift into your dark chosen form, something ancient awakens within you, a fire that doesn't flicker but roars. This is not the fire of destruction for destruction's sake. This is the fire of transformation, of sacred rage, of divine alchemy. You are no longer here to simply hold space. You are here to remake space. And that's not a ritual that happens with crystals and chants. That's a ritual that happens in the furnace of your soul. Your entire being becomes the altar. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every silence you were forced to swallow now becomes the fuel. You're not just healing from the past anymore. You're weaponizing it into wisdom. And that is what a shadow alchemist does. You take the poison and you turn it into power. You take shame and you turn it into sovereignty. You take the wound and you turn it into a war cry. But here's the paradox. To rise as a shadow alchemist, you must first descend into complete darkness. You must face every part of yourself you were taught to run from. The rage, the jealousy, the judgment, the grief, the guilt. You must stop labeling these as low vibration and start seeing them as messengers. Every so-called negative emotion is a sacred ally. Rage tells you where your boundaries were violated. Jealousy shows you what you deeply desire but were told you couldn't have. Judgment reveals where you've abandoned your truth in the name of being accepted. These emotions are not distractions from your spiritual path. They are the path. Can you sit with them and you listen to them without trying to fix, change, or escape? Because if you can, you'll begin to notice something strange. They start speaking back in symbols, in visions, in strange synchronicities. You'll start to see that your darkness doesn't want to devour you. It wants to inform you. It wants to initiate you into a deeper truth. And only those brave enough to descend will ever rise into their full power. As this transformation unfolds, you'll begin to notice that your inner world is no longer ruled by fear. It's ruled by intensity. But intensity is not the enemy. Intensity is the language of the sacred. The light chosen ones often fear this intensity. They label it as too much, too dark, too chaotic. But your soul knows better. Your soul remembers the old ways, the ways of the warrior mystic, the priestess of fire, the shapeshifter who could enter realms others feared to even name. You are not here to be digestible. You are here to awaken the sleeping dragons within yourself and within others. That means you'll start speaking truth that shakes rooms. You'll start feeling energy that others can't explain. You'll walk into spaces and people will either be magnetized or repelled. That's not your ego, that's your frequency. You're no longer broadcasting softness. You're broadcasting softness, and it's unignorable. You're not just here to inspire, you're here to initiate. And sometimes initiation feels like betrayal to those who are still clinging to the light for safety. You'll also begin to notice that your relationship with the divine shifts dramatically. You stop praying to be saved. You stop asking for signs. You stop waiting for the universe to give you permission. Instead, you become the sign. You become the storm. You become the divine in motion. This is one of the most profound and terrifying parts of the shift. You realize that God is not outside of you. God is not the one watching. God is the one becoming through you. And when you accept that, you stop outsourcing your power. You stop asking others how to live. You stop looking for gurus. You stop waiting for enlightenment and start embodying your own gnosis. This is when your walk changes. This is when your voice deepens. This is when the air around you shifts. Because you're no longer seeking truth, you are truth. And truth doesn't whisper. Truth thunders. Truth uproots. Truth liberates. And truth in its purest form is terrifying to those still addicted to illusions. But here's the most sacred truth of all. You did not fall from the light. You were sent into the dark. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. The pain, the loss, the isolation, it wasn't random. It was the forge. It was the test. The universe needed to see if you could still remember who you are without applause, without followers, without validation. Could you still walk as the divine when no one was watching? Could you still speak truth when it cost you everything? Could you still burn with purpose even when the world tried to drown your flame? If the answer is yes, then welcome. You are not lost. You are becoming. And the world doesn't need more perfect people. The world needs more sacred disruptors, more shadow alchemists, more warriors of truth who are not afraid to walk through the fire and come out carrying the ashes of a lie that needed to die. So I ask you now, what chains are you still pretending are jewelry? What illusions are you still calling home? What part of your power are you still hiding under the mask of humility? It's time to stop dimming. It's time to stop pretending. It's time to rise, not as a savior, but as a sovereign force of divine reckoning. When the mirror breaks, embracing the collapse of your old self, there is a moment in every chosen one's journey where the mirror shatters. Not the physical one, but the mirror of identity, the one that reflects who you thought you were, what you believed you needed to be, who you were conditioned to perform as. And when that mirror breaks, the collapse is total. You no longer recognize yourself. The things that once brought you comfort now feel empty. The labels that once gave you pride now feel like chains. And in that raw, terrifying space, a voice inside whispers a truth you've never dared to speak aloud. None of this was ever really me. That's when you realize you're not losing yourself. You're losing who you became in order to survive. And that's where the real death begins. Not of your body, but of the persona, of the mask, of the illusion. You can't shift into your dark chosen path while clinging to the image of who you were in the light. You must let it all burn, the roles, the followers, the identity, even the dreams that were never truly yours. This is the sacred death. And it is not pretty. It is not poetic. It is gut-wrenching and messy, but it is holy. During this collapse, you may find yourself alone in ways you've never experienced before. It's not just loneliness, it's a complete energetic void. Conversations feel hollow. People don't understand you. Even your own voice sounds unfamiliar. This is the in-between, the spiritual cocoon where you are neither caterpillar nor butterfly. You are goo, unformed, undefined, uncertain. And this is where most people run back to the light, back to the familiar, back to comfort. But if you can stay here, in the discomfort, in the not knowing, something astonishing begins to happen. Your soul starts to speak in a new dialect. Not the language of affirmation and manifestation, but the language of embodiment. You stop chasing answers and start becoming the question. You stop begging for clarity and start embracing mystery. You begin to realize that your true self is not something to be found. It's something to be remembered. And remembrance doesn't come through logic. It comes through collapse, through surrender, through letting the old version of you die so that the real one can rise. You'll start to notice that your triggers become your teachers. Every moment of emotional intensity becomes a portal. When someone betrays you, Instead of collapsing into victimhood, you ask, what part of me needed to be shown this truth? When you feel jealousy, you no longer shame yourself, but ask, what sacred desire have I buried beneath the fear of being seen? When rage erupts, you don't suppress it, you alchemize it. You let it show you where your power was stolen. You let it guide you back to your voice. This is the path of the dark chosen one. You stop reacting from your wounds and start responding from your wisdom. You become unshakable, not because you're always calm, but because you've made peace with chaos. You're no longer trying to be pure. You're trying to be whole, and wholeness includes the shadow. Wholeness includes the parts of you that were too wild, too loud, too deep for the light path. And now they are reclaiming their place in your throne. And then something miraculous happens. Your intuition evolves. It no longer whispers, it roars. You begin to see through people instantly. You can feel lies in your bones. You can taste truth in a person's energy before they speak. You become a mirror others cannot hide from. And this is both a gift and a burden. People will project onto you. They will call you intimidating, judgmental, too much. But let them. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be undeniable. You begin to realize that your very presence is a form of spiritual warfare, not because you attack, but because you activate. You awaken the parts of others they've buried. You remind them of the power they've forsaken, and some will hate you for it. But the ones who are ready, they will find you. They will remember you. Because your energy speaks to their soul in a way no words ever could. This is how the dark chosen one leads, not with popularity, but with potency, not with followers, but with frequency. And finally, you realize that you were never meant to stay in the shadows or the light. You're meant to walk between both, to be the bridge, the portal, the integration. You are the embodiment of paradox. You are the sacred and the profane, the healer and the destroyer, the priestess and the outlaw. You are no longer afraid of being misunderstood because you finally understood yourself. You are no longer seeking peace. You are the storm that brings peace through rupture. And now, you walk with a different kind of stillness. Not the stillness of passivity, but the stillness of power. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to convince anyone. You are no longer trying to become anything. You were. And that is enough. So I ask you now, what happens when you stop performing and start embodying? What becomes possible when you stop hiding behind the light and start owning your shadow? What kind of world could we create if more of us were brave enough to break the mirror and rise? Becoming the sacred weapon of truth. There is a moment in every dark chosen one's journey where the final veil lifts. Not the veil between you and the world, but the one between you and your true role in this lifetime. You begin to realize that all the pain, all the rejection, all the breakdowns weren't obstacles, they were sculptors. They were shaping you into something ancient, something holy, something terrifyingly real. You are not a healer in the traditional sense. You are not here to soothe people's egos or walk them gently into transformation. You are here to cut. You are here to shatter. You are here to speak the unspoken truths that no one else has the stomach to say. You are the sacred weapon of truth. And truth, when it's pure, does not always feel good. It does not always comfort. Sometimes it eviscerates. Sometimes it burns the house down so a soul can finally breathe. That is your medicine. That is your mission. And the moment you stop resisting it, when you stop trying to be the light and instead become the torch that sets illusions on fire, you become unstoppable. You become untouchable. Not because you can't be harmed, but because you've already died 1,000 times in the name of truth, and each death only made you more whole. But this final initiation is not for the faint of heart. It requires a degree of aloneness that most never dare to enter. You will walk through seasons where no one understands you, not your friends, not your family, not even your own reflection. You will feel like you're being erased, like you're disappearing into the void. But listen closely. This is not your obliteration. This is your expansion. The ego is what's dying, not you. The old self that needed approval, that feared abandonment, that chased love like a starving child, that self is dissolving. And in its place, something vast and eternal is emerging. You don't need to be liked anymore. You don't need to be chosen. You are the force that chooses. You are the one who arrives where needed, not to fit in, but to awaken. And yes, it will be lonely. But that loneliness becomes your sanctuary, because in the silence, you begin to feel the hum of your true power. You begin to hear the voice of your soul, not as a whisper, but as a command. And when the soul commands, the whole universe rearranges. Eventually, you will no longer see yourself as broken or too much. You will no longer look back at your pain with shame. You'll see it as sacred preparation. You'll honor every wound as a portal, every scar as scripture. You'll look into the eyes of others, especially those still performing, still pretending, and you'll see yourself in them. But you won't try to save them. That's no longer your role. You'll simply be. And in your being, you will activate. Your presence alone will become a transmission. You'll walk into a room and shift its frequency without saying a word. You'll speak and people will tremble, not because you're trying to intimidate, but because truth has a vibration that shakes the bones. This is the sovereign power of the dark chosen one. You are the reckoning. You are the remembrance. You are the embodiment of what happens when someone stops running from their shadow and starts building their throne out of it. And now the question is no longer who are you becoming? The real question is, what will you do with the power you've reclaimed from the fire? Will you use it to protect, to awaken, to liberate? Or will you shrink from it one more time, out of fear that the world isn't ready? Because here's the final truth. The world will never be ready, but that was never your concern. You didn't come here to fit into the world. You came to remake it.